United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning all, welcome to the board.
Morning.
Good morning. All right, approval of the county board minutes.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I have a motion, I have a second. I have a motion and a second. Further discussion. Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Any additions or deletions to the agenda, Nicole?
Public health has been added to the agenda.
After social services.
Yes.
After social services, okay. Public health after social services. All right, do I have a motion, gentlemen?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion. Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Extension report. You're
Right.
top of the list this morning.
Good morning on this
Morning.
fantastic day.
Good morning, Suzanne, how are you?
Morning.
Great, I'm great, thank you.
Haven't
Great
seen
to be
you
here
for a
with you.
while.
Right, I think it's been less than 12 hours since I saw the two of you
Yes, it has.
at the Extension Committee meeting. So I'm just here today to present you with the memorandum of agreement for the 2016 to 2018 time period. And as you are well aware, you have a fantastic relationship with Stearns and Benton counties for that memorandum of agreement. So it shares 3 staff members, and then you also have a full-time 4-H person here in the county. Do you have a copy of that It's in item? our board. Okay.
Yep.
So I have a copy, that's the official one, if you want to take that. I didn't know if you needed to have any questions of me answered, or if there's anything I can do.
Gentlemen?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Jelinski.
Suzanne, this is for 2017, correct?
Yep, 2016 through 2018.
And that reflects a blank percent increase, which we're tied into through extension, and I understand that. What is that blank?
There is, the first year is a 2% increase for
Okay.
cost of living, and then I believe it goes 2.5 after that.
16 to 17 is 2.
Yep.
17 to 18 is,
Actually, it's from 15 to 16, it's 2%, so
Okay.
that first year. And the second year is a 2.5%, and then I need to do math, I believe it's 3% on that third year,
okay.
And this is calendar year or fiscal?
calendar year.
Okay, so 216, 17.
And this is no different than anything in the past that,
It's the same exact contract. It does have that same 90-day clause. If either party needed to exit, it's a 90-day clause. So it's the same exact contract, except just with different terms, different years.
I would just like to further say, Mr. Chair, is that
Yes.
extension is, as far as I'm concerned, vital for Morrison County. It does so much good for those, and we're starting to talk about natural this, natural that, homegrown this and homegrown that. Extension is a open door for questions, for concerns, for what everybody does there, and I think it's a great deal.
I'm glad, thank you very much for saying that. And I thank this board for the support that they do give extension. It remains vital because of the support that the board gives.
Gentlemen,
Okay,
comments?
I would so move on that, Mr. Chair.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion. And we have some great employees, very involved with the community and really establishes and creates and works with our community members, so that's so positive. So a lot of good things I hear out there.
And there's one more thing too that isn't in here, is the health and nutrition program. So that's not a cost to the county, but that's a benefit. Those are federal dollars that come in that are here working on education for health and nutrition topics for low-income folks. It can be anyone who could attend those classes, but low income is the target audience.
Sure, sure.
So
All right.
very good. Thank you very much.
Gentlemen,
Probably
I have a
vote on it.
motion on the
Good point.
floor.
Don't leave.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Very good, Suzanne.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Now
Have a
you
good day.
can leave.
Yeah, don't be presumptuous.
Come anytime you want to.
Yes. All right, community development, Carol. Good morning.
Good morning, Carol.
Good morning. Couple of things. You should know that the Initiative Foundation, Region 5 and Community Development helped with the acquisition of a company in Swanville. Rotomolding has been sold to a small investment group. that will be taking over the company. They're going to keep all the employees, they're going to add. They needed 2 pieces of equipment, and so between the Initiative Foundation and Community Development, we funded a big rotomolding machine, and then a foaming machine is being funded by Region 5. So they're hoping to expand the business, and the old owners are saying, it's kind of time to retire and move on. So this is going to keep the business there, keep all the employees there, and probably add some to it. So I think it's a good thing for the city of Swanville. Our website is up and running. We did a new website kind of focused on economic development. We're still adding to it, but it's already got, we used to be able to go over to the state's website and get a lot of demographics on each community, and they don't have that anymore. We have it now for all the communities and Morrison County on our website. So if some cities already have called, they're doing grant writing and they need to know what's the median income and that kind of thing, that's all on our website. So, and we're going to be adding a section with the realtors for all the industrial buildings that are going to be for sale. So that's moving in there too. So it's still kind of a work in progress, but for the most part, it's up and running. The other thing it's going to have is a site for resumes. Say somebody is in the city, would like to move back here, they can put their resume up. Businesses can also post on there, and if they're looking for someone and, maybe they meet, so we're trying to do both ways. Somebody wanting to come here and somebody looking to hire, they can meet. Local company did the website was Golden Shovel, and they did a really nice job, so if you get a chance to go out and take a look at it, please do. Food Hub is moving along. They've got the plumbing in already. They're working on the walls. I know some of the equipment has been ordered through Brits over in Buckman. They are having, for the market part of it, they're having 2 soft openings. One is going to be November 21st. That's the Saturday before Thanksgiving from 9 to 3, and December 12th from 9 to 3. They're both Saturdays. This is going to be more kind of for artisans and people that want to sell some other products. So that'll be the marketplace soft opening, but that's moving along. We did get the Chief Hole in the Day Business Park has been certified shovel-ready by the state of Minnesota. The person who did the certification came up and certified it for us. The state's going to help market it then, and we're also going to link it back now to our website. And off the website, I already had a call from a business person inquiring about 3 different communities. So, he said, I was just on your website, and I thought, ooh.
Carol, are we talking about the property north of town here?
Chief Hole in the Day is where Airborne is.
Oh,
North of
gotcha.
Walmart.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, that one's been certified as shovel-ready. The next one that we're going to be doing is the school district property just to the south of that. You see that has a lot of marketability too because of the highway exposure. Then any other communities, we're going to go around and ask if they want something certified shovel-ready, then we can work with them. Let's see, also, finally, I was asked, I'm on the Rural Finance Board, and I was asked to put together a group of economic developers to say, is there something we can do if, heaven help us, the avian flu comes back again? To help some of the farmers if they have to build new barns or whatever. So I put a group together, came up with a lot of different programs that are already out there that can be used, and we brought those all together, and the Department of Agriculture did a really nice little 2-page brochure that we're handing out to the bankers and trying to get out, and I can certainly forward it to Deb. And you can have it if something happens, then you can just print that out and give them the information if it's a constituent of yours.
All right,
That's
questions,
it.
comments
Yeah.
for Carol?
Carol,
Commissioner
the rotomolding, is there a dozen or so employees
I
about?
think there's right around 18 now.
Okay, I see
16
quite
or
a few
8,
cars
yeah,
there every day.
mhm. And I think they're looking to add probably another 6 to 8.
Okay, okay.
Commissioner
Chairman?
Jelinski?
Carol, you used the term shovel-ready several different times, and I believe I know what shovel-ready means, but can you explain what
Yeah.
you mean?
Yeah, it's, right now, when businesses, larger businesses are looking to find a location, they go to a company that are site selectors, and they say, you know, we're looking in these 3 states, we want to be by a 4-lane highway, 10-ton roads, we want fiber, all of that, okay? And so the state of Minnesota developed the shovel-ready site, so that communities that have parcels of land, it'll say, this one's shovel-ready. It's who's the ownership, what's the cost of the land, where are the roads in the area, where do the electric lines run, where does the natural gas line run, what's the PSI on that natural gas line? And what a lot of these guys, they don't want to be dealing with the greedy little vultures that are economic developers, because then everybody is going to be calling, you know, and they don't want to deal with that. So they get it narrowed down, they come out and they look at the site, and then they call the economic developers, okay? That's how it happened in Brainerd. I mean, Sheila didn't know that FedEx was looking until they called her from the industrial park and said, hey, come out here.
Okay.
So that's why we want to move into that area.
Very good, thank you very much.
Yep.
Other questions for Carol, gentlemen? Well, I do, Carol, you said Region 5 and Community Development helped fund the machines, these 2 machines, and that would be a low-interest loan, that's how that works?
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that.
Yep, they're
Okay.
loans, yeah.
Yep, okay, very good. All right, thanks
All right.
much.
Thanks,
Thank
Carol.
you.
Thanks for all the hard work.
Thank you for
All
the
right,
update.
thank
Have a
you.
good day, Carol.
Yep, thanks.
Social Service Report, Brad. I see we have Jim along. Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Jim, good morning, Brad.
Good morning. Well, I'm sorry, but I went out this morning and looked at my handout, and for some reason, when Nicole saved that first sheet, it did not include the 2014 numbers, so that is what is coming around, is the first page of the handout on the board packet. So I know that happens once in a while, so we can't explain why, but
Okay, well, what's up on the screen apparently behind me, 'cause it's not over there, doesn't have
yes.
14 numbers, I see them.
So today, Jim and I are here to talk about the 2014 cost report. So, as the person at the state tells Jim, she finally gave birth to this report because it is a long, arduous process with a lot of numbers. So all these numbers came from our social service information system through our MMIS system, our social service information system. So this is Maxis. So this is all of the financial drivers that we have been responsible for in various ways, shapes, or forms. So the first handout, which is in front of you, breaks it down by year. And as you can see, on the first line, payments to clients and vendors, overall, we've increased payments by about $10 million from 2013 to 2014. Yet our administrative costs only went up 7%. So that's the overall payments to clients. And then they break them down into 3 different programs. Support, which includes our financial assistance program, so general assistance, Minnesota Family Investment Program, food support, group residential housing. And that is the lowest financial driver within our organization. The second one is the health programs. That's always been the largest, and that is medical assistance and the waivers. And the third one is the social service program, which is broken down into 6 different areas, which is children's, adults, mental health, DD, vulnerable adults. And so that top portion really lays out how much we're paying in each of those program areas. And as I've indicated before, medical assistance and the waivers is the greatest volume of services that we provide. It's payments to nursing homes, to the disabled living in their homes, or to some of those kids who may be in a supportive living environment that's very expensive. The bottom portion is the per capita cost comparative, so this really shows where we are compared to the state. And as a director who is really into this particular report, which I don't understand a whole lot, but he loves this part down here. What he says, you don't want to be the best and you don't want to be the worst. And so really we do kind of fall in the middle in terms of our rank around total cost of our county portion, the administrative cost, the aid purchased. So we're pretty much right there in the middle. So I'll take you to the next handout, which is on your screen.
Could we stay
Any
with?
questions?
Oh, you certainly may.
Some clarification. Commissioner Jelinski.
I'm actually surprised. It's a rarity that you see a minus, and in all respect to social services, it's a rarity that I believe that I see a minus. So under support programs, if I'm seeing this correctly, Morrison County is minus 5%. Explain that to me, if you can.
So this is actually from 2000 to 11, so comparing 2011 through 2014.
Yep.
We have purchased 5% less in the support programs from 2011 to 2014.
So give me just a quick example of a support program.
So the Minnesota Family Investment Program, so our aid to families and children. So you have a single mom with kids.
Okay.
Those costs have been reduced from 2011 to 2014.
Just jumped out at me as
Yep.
kind of a rarity that we finally see a minus instead
And
of
Mr.
a
Chair, when you say
plus.
reduce, do they transfer those funds to any of these programs? It doesn't seem possible.
They do not transfer these to really any other program. It's not to say that they don't just have health care and maybe their health care costs went up. But they didn't shift dollars they've reported this the same way for 15 years. So it isn't taking from one pot to move it to another to show, what's going on. But I can't really say why, but the SNAP program changed in about the last 18 months. The SNAP benefits have changed. Our MFIP population really has never grown here. It's been fairly stable, just a few up and downs here and there. But yes, what that is saying is that we're spending less in the support programs over the last 4 years.
Is that because there's less funds available, maybe?
No, because the eligibility has not changed.
And I'm just bringing it up because I
Oh,
don't,
no, that was
I
a good
don't get
question,
it.
Mr. Jelinski.
Because
I was
we've
looking
got,
at the same thing.
the first one, payments to clients is up 18%. The next one is down, as I'm bringing to your attention, -5.
Yep.
Following through, health programs are up 26. Social services programs are at 4%. It just seemed kind of odd that, how can something be down? But nonetheless, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I think that's a misperception, and that's something that these programs that are, those programs that are for the welfare programs like people typically think of are down, but where the cost drivers really are is it's healthcare, and that's
Yep.
what people don't understand. And to the millions and millions of dollars difference, I mean, that's, I don't think in people's minds
Yep,
typically.
very good.
Gentlemen, any other?
Thank you very
Commissioner
much.
Wilson.
I got two questions. Health programs is not public health, anything to do with public health.
It could, in terms of the services to the elderly. So the elderly waiver program that public health authorizes is included in these health programs. So nursing home stays, elderly living in the home with supportive services, those kinds of activities.
Okay, so if I read this correctly, we take in about $72 million from the state or federal government. It costs us about $5.1 million to do the services, and $51 million of that is more for the health programs, the elder. How much of that is elderly versus, I know you probably don't have that information, but like I says, I think people always think that it's the young, where I think it's really realistic that it's the older people that we're helping that have run out of money and they're staying in nursing homes and things like that.
I don't think the report breaks it down by those populations. Unlike the support and social services, there are some breakdowns. But what I can tell you is we have about a $12 million waiver budget. Well, actually more than that because the elderly waiver is not included in that, which is for the developmentally disabled, mental health, elderly, those kinds of things. So, but no, I wouldn't be able to tell you of that 51 million, how much of it is taking care of our parents versus how much is taking care of a disabled child or disabled adult.
And Mr. Chair, I have
Commissioner
just one more
Jelinski.
question, if you were.
Are you done, Mike?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, Commissioner Jelinski.
Jim, when we're talking about the ranking, and I've heard you say before that it's the best if we can stay right in the middle somewhere, and I'm good with all that. I'm just basically wondering, are we basing that rank off of 87 counties? Is that where that comes in? And we're in the middle of 87 counties?
I believe so.
County?
there could be up to interpretation, because you have some counties who are combined, you have Southwest Health and Human Services and Faribault Martin. And I'm not sure how they break up those counties,
Okay. very
but
good.
somewhere between 80 and 87.
Okay, that's very good, thank you.
Mr. Chair, can I clarify
Yes,
one thing
Deb.
Mike said about we take in, the county doesn't necessarily get all that and funnel it, some of it goes directly
Yeah.
to providers. So
Yeah.
some of it comes through, but some of them kind of is authored or kind of orchestrated by the work that we do and goes directly to those providers.
I guess my point of view is that we have about $72 million that comes into the county that's distributed between wages and other things that, the county would be in pretty tough shape if that $72 million wasn't here.
Oh,
And businesses and everything.
Right.
I would
So-
clarify that some of this does go to providers in other counties, because we may have a resident who lives in a foster home, but the majority of it is for Morrison County, within Morrison County, so.
I really like this, thank you.
Other questions on that issue, gentlemen? I just have a comment, and I think we need to realize too that hospice and home care really alleviates a lot of these major costs, and that's so important, keeping people in their homes, and that's what a lot of these programs do, is try to alleviate them going into nursing homes, so just needed to say that.
But by the time you get to a nursing home, things really get expensive.
Yes, they do.
Okay, Brad, go ahead.
So the next handout is just the overall picture of the state. And that is, again, it just shows that health programs are the biggest cost driver in the state. The social service programs are next, and the support programs are next, so these are costs. The next slide really shows where the revenue is coming from. So the federal and state government are fairly close in what they provide, and then you have the county miscellaneous for the total costs. So that's a statewide, the statewide costs. If you take it to the next slide, this is Morrison County specific,
It's just $12 billion just for the state of Minnesota, there are 50 of them.
almost 13,
Highlighted
Yep.
that.
closer to 13.
Yeah, closer to 50.
She's dropping $1 billion here or there.
So this is the total cost within human services, so this includes the payments to providers as well as administrative costs. So the total economic impact is about $77.7 million for Morrison County. And again, the vast majority of those are health programs, which includes medical assistance and the waivers.
And Mr. Chair, Brad, none of these funds come out of our levy or anything like that, correct?
Yes, they do. That will be the last piece, and we'll kind of show you how they lay out, so. I wish I could say no, but yes, you support this economic driver right here through the tax levy.
Well, and because we're required to.
Yes.
But other than that.
Yeah. So this is the revenue, and as you can see in the county, that is our levy.
There we go.
Right there. So it's 4% of the total cost of that $77 million. Again, federal and state are pretty close. Then the county is 4%, miscellaneous 1%. Those are fees. I can't remember what all the miscellaneous costs that go into that, but fees, I don't know if you know exactly.
Fees, recoveries.
So if we collect on a state, that would go into that, so.
Do we have an admin fee and stuff for health insurance, from health insurance companies and things like that for any of that
We
work?
do not, no.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Johnski.
Brad, could we go back to that?
Which
Or,
one?
no, that one right
Okay.
here that we're looking at. Morrison County, 4%, $3,185,463. That's levy money.
That's levy money.
That's levy money that, like anything else, I mean, we're required by the state of Minnesota. I just need to know how that works. I'm
Yep.
just wondering. We're required by the state of Minnesota that counties have to kick in, or whatever. I don't know the right verbiage here on how to say that.
Well, we're required to perform certain functions.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, there's money that it takes that isn't offset by state, federal, or other fees. And so that's where it's at. Some costs have shifted over the years, some costs are because we're able to do things more efficient or whatever it might be. But yes, it's part of that, that the state doesn't say you have to kick in a certain percentage based upon the entire cost. It's the difference, so to speak, what we don't get that we need to be able to do business.
So it costs, if I'm understanding this correctly, it costs Morrison County $3 million or thereabouts to get 77 million.
It costs local property tax,
Yeah.
$3 million
Yep.
to do that. Obviously, the rest are taxed also, but not by this entity. So it costs the property taxes and the property owners of Morrison County the 3.1 million to be able to fund this business.
77 million.
Yep.
So, Mr.
Commissioner
Chair,
Winter.
what's our total levy last year, whatever? it was?
12, 13 million.
Okay, so it's,
It's about a quarter of the levy.
Sure.
Commissioner Johnson?
One question for Brad. The 4%, so does that figure move every year?
Yes.
Okay, that'll move every year.
I might be a little light on that levy estimate. It could be like 14, 15,
You're
16.
16.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
16.
just
Okay.
16.
been around a little longer
Yes,
than I
yes,
thought.
yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that issue, gentlemen? Okay, Brad. go ahead.
All right, so I will turn it over to Jim, and that is the last handout, and really, he's broken it down in terms of where the levy has gone in terms of our cost centers.
To start out, again, we're talking about, for the state, or the total there, for Morrison County was $77 million worth of expense. If you go for the total for 14, about the mid-page, only 8.7 Waco came out of our bank account. Cutting checks to foster care providers, paying payroll, stuff like that there. If you run across all the way to the right, 29%. Now, this number's kind of skewed because of the over 65 costs for healthcare programs type thing. So, because of public health picking up the elderly population, it drops our number down to 3.5 million roughly, rather than the 3.1 million that was on the overall report that comes from the DHS department. What I'd like to point out is that from 14 to 10, we may have increased our costs over $400,000, but we decreased the levy needs by $40,000. Most of it was recovered either through federal, state, or through the miscellaneous revenues. If you would like, we can get into some of the bigger financial drivers up on top. Of course, financial assistance, which is again the Sapuden Health, our health care MA, is the biggest, cost that we're running across them. However, it's only, amounting to 18% of our total levy need, all the way to the right type thing, whereas you take children's services, that's at 1.9, but almost half of that, if you move all the way to the right, comes out of our levy to cover it. So, chemical dependency would be another one. We only spend 306, but of that, almost 56% of it is out of our levy. It's got less support than,
So for instance, chemical dependency is one of those mandated programs that we're required to provide through what we call consolidated funding. And so we authorize treatment to the tune of about, I can't remember how much we authorize in terms of expenses around people accessing treatment. But we don't get a lot of reimbursement from state or federal programs for the administrative costs of managing consolidated funding and authorizing treatment.
But yet we're mandated to do that.
Correct.
So
Right,
that's just
right.
how the game is played.
And when you say treatment, Brad, are you including detox?
Correct.
Okay,
Yep,
and-
detox
and-
costs come out of there, which
So
is,
that really skews it, because detox costs are 100% levy dollars.
Correct.
Okay, it's a state mandated, county funded service, whereas treatment, what does the state reimburse now for
I think we have a 22%.
22%, and that's increased pretty steadily over the last
Yep.
couple decades.
So for every
ahead.
for every $100 we authorize in treatment, we have to pay $22 of that out of county funding.
For treatment.
For
Now,
treatment.
detox is 100%. That's, and we've talked about that, and we've tried to push some legislation through to try to get the state to pay for detox because they mandate it. So,
And the state did actually authorize at the last legislative session for the department to access medical assistance for detox. How long that federal approval will take, we don't know. But that's the other thing that we've been pushing the state to do, is to get a waiver to pay, use insurance to pay for detox services, so.
other questions on that, gentlemen?
So I guess just in summary, I mean, you can see in terms of our administrative cost, it's a very small portion of what actually the economic driver is for Morrison County around all of these programs. And of course, what we've said before is that the support programs, really those quote-unquote welfare programs, are the smallest portion of what we do in terms of the services that are spent here in Morrison County.
Can Can I just point out one
Yes,
thing
Deb.
with the correlation, when we have the what was the levy total? We're 3.1 for levy dollars, it costs about 8.7 to run the department, but we get that difference in state and
Yep.
federal money. So it's, we talked about the 3.7 is what the local property tax dollar need is to run that whole big $77 million driver, but it really is 8.7 to run the whole department. Some of it's programs, very little is programs, but most of it's the cost for that, we just get reimbursed that difference.
So, Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Januski?
am I correct in understanding an awful big number, but managed on the local level, quite honestly, very well, and recorded financially, skewed, attention to detail, makes this whole thing really work very well.
Commissioner Wilson?
Brad, I appreciate these figures because I think the perception is that everything goes to certain people, and this really shows where the money is. And $72 million in the county is a lot for businesses and stuff, and most of it's here and spent here somehow. So I really appreciate how you broke everything out and really defined where the money goes. Thank you.
Other questions, gentlemen's comments? I'd like to make a comment, and I think the comment from what you said initially, Brad, is the $400,000 that we've had to increase providing the services, yet we are utilizing $40,000 less. So that means you're really accessing a lot more state and federal funding to pay for those needed increases in providing the services. So that's great. That really shows that you're going after those dollars we need to provide the funding for the increases. So great stuff, so.
And
Yes,
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner
I spoke with Mr. Mauer. In the bills, it says approved detoxation. I haven't seen that come through very often. What would have that been for? I wonder. It said Paul approved it back in September.
What was it,
About
$2,500?
$2,500.
My guess it would be for a detox placement like at Central Minnesota Mental Health Center or,
I'm thinking a hold.
Or a
That's
hold
what I
order?
was- That's what I was saying.
Could have been a-
Hold
could have
order
been a
pending
hold.
commitment.
similar to the one that Commissioner Wilson asked about a month or two ago, a bill that we paid at Essentia, like for, yeah. So again, and that's just the issue of maintaining clients in a safe environment until the state system, they can be moved into the state system. And that's really been a bottleneck, as our county attorney can attest to. It's been a bottleneck. Our hospitals have been frustrated. Some detox isn't as frustrated because the clients that are there waiting to be committed aren't as difficult as some of these clients waiting in the emergency rooms. But it does cost to hold them until they can move to the state system.
See, and that's where the state, from my perspective, really dropped the ball. And when they shut the state hospital down, where we could hold clients pending commitment holds, and MI commitments, CD commitments, I mean, even at Detox, when I worked at Detox, we held so many people pending MI commitments, because they were MI CD issues, and at least we would hold them, so you had a place, but it was costly, like $300 a day. But we had at least another place, now that's gone as well, so that's the real dilemma, is where do you hold these people pending their commitments?
It's a serious problem, and there was actually a really good article in the Star Tribune
gonna mention that.
the other day about it, and it's well worth pulling that article and reading it, because it's a statewide problem.
Yeah.
And when you use the hold, that means they're in the county jail or they're.
But some of them end up in the county
Right,
jail
yeah.
with
Yeah.
legal stuff, because we
Right.
aren't addressing the issues on the front end where they need to be addressed.
And the problem of that is when you say county jail, it's my belief that in the olden days, that you dreamt up, we're charging them with this, so you could put them in a jail. Olden days, okay? And when I say that is, those folks didn't belong in a jail any more than the man in the moon. But where do you put them? And I'd be very safe on how I say that. But where do you put them? You have to have a secure place that they have to be looked at all the time. It just doesn't work. That jail's the wrong place.
Well, Ramsey County did a study a couple years ago to the impact of mental health services they needed to provide in their jail, and this was following the closure of the state hospitals. It was like 1.2 million, and all those, so that system is absorbing, because we don't have a place to hold people who need mental health services, because they end up in legal stuff, so it's a real dilemma.
And now emergency rooms are really feeling that pinch because jails are being more protective.
Yeah.
But as Brian said, that article really laid out, the Sheriff's Association has been really frustrated with holding some of these individuals in jails who may have committed a crime, but it's as a result of their mental health or chemical dependency and don't really need to be in jail, but need some form of treatment.
Well, might need to be in jail, but need to be in a different type of a secured environment. That's not really a jail setting, to where they can get the
Yep.
attention that they need.
Yeah.
All right, good.
This
Anything
is
else,
very-
gentlemen?
Jim, thank you very kindly
Yep,
for.
thank you.
Good, thanks, guys. Thanks for your work.
And then just, I did send out an email this morning for the meeting on Friday, so it's gonna be at the Public Health Library instead of down in Meeting Room 1, so.
Sounds good.
All right,
Thanks.
thank
Have a
you.
good-
Thank
Good
you.
day, guys. Thanks for your work.
Brian.
Public health report.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First, want to introduce you to our new community health educator. This is Emily Senta.
No,
Welcome,
Emily.
Emily.
Her
Morning.
background is actually in the SHIP program, the Statewide Health Improvement. So
Yep.
she's come here, she's going to be doing our SHIP here. And she's also going to be doing car seats and our emergency preparedness and towards zero death. So we're
Okay.
excited to have her.
Outstanding.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Forward.
Thanks, Emily.
Thank
for
you.
coming. All right.
Thank you.
And a couple of those.
Thank you.
I think we already have copies out.
Yep. No, I gave them a new board packet, so they
never
should
mind.
have it on your,
He gave it to us right here.
yep.
Oh, this is
Two copies.
Oh, no, that one's.
Oh, that's his administration.
Oh, no, I think, sorry, Katie, it's in the board, it's in your board packet.
Yep,
Open up.
I have it right here.
I thought I saw.
Let's see here.
Oh, that's okay.
Yep, you should have some.
Do we all have one?
Yes.
After this. It's after. I don't know what that was.
No, that's assessor.
If you didn't open the new one Nicole just sent this morning, then you're running off the one you got
Okay,
last
excuse me,
night. So
sorry.
I got
the
this.
paper
I got
copy
this.
is what
Yep.
you'd need.
Got it.
Okay.
So our planning and implementation grant, it was a 5-year grant. It's going to be up June 30th, 2016. And that's the Stand Up For You Coalition, you may know. So we have an upcoming vacancy in that program as the coordinator position. And so we're looking to have existing public health staff cover the position internally. Since it's such a short-term, short-term need. It really wouldn't be a decision we would make if it would be a long-term vacancy. However, other staff can step up and fulfill the need, basically. We brought the idea to the coalition and also to the granting agency, Department of Human Services, and it seems to be
Okay.
yeah, thank you. An okay decision. Everybody's pretty much on board with it. We are going to have one more meeting, actually a face-to-face meeting with the Department of Human Services tomorrow. They're coming here. But so far, all the conversations we've had, sounds like it would be a good decision. So,
Mr. Chair?
any questions?
Yes, Commissioner Jelinski.
Katie, thank you very kindly for that explanation. However, I want to pose the question. I want to ask, I believe that Stand Up For You, the coalition, has been a wonderful asset in the school system in this district, in the Little Falls district. I know they had a wonderful experience in Pierce, I believe, prior to that. This grant is done June 30th of 2016, this P&I grant,
Correct.
which is ultimately, call it whatever we want, Stand Up For You. Is there going to be, in your crystal ball,
Yep.
is there going to be another one of these?
So, if you're talking about Little Falls and the Stand Up
No.
For You coalition, you're not talking about that.
I'm
Okay.
talking about the P&I grant.
The grant in general?
Yep.
Well, the application process for the next 5-year round of grants is coming out.
Okay.
In that grant process, they outline kind of the top places in Minnesota that this would be a good fit for. And so we'll be looking to that list and seeing, having discussions with areas in the county if it seems to be a good fit. If the data says that this would be a good grant for an area. There are a few areas that I have identified and we need to talk to the school districts, and we're kind of going from there. We'll be having a meeting with the regional prevention coordinator pretty soon here.
Okay.
And where we'll be talking about that more.
All right, very good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Other questions, gentlemen?
Mr. Chair, if I could
Yes,
clarify with
Deb.
JJ, both PAC and Stand Up For You are in current DFC cycles, which that P&I is that first set of 5 years, and then it moves and transitions to a drug-free communities grant. And so both of them are at various stages in grants that started with that 5-year P&I grant. I don't know if everybody's.
So the P&I grant is actually step one.
Yep, kind of step one, in a way, it's a little bit different, but that's what you start with, that typically sets the foundation for DFC.
It sets you have to have an existing community coalition to
Yep.
get a drug-free communities grant.
Yep,
The
and
P&I
this-
grant, you do not have to have that, that's why it's typically the step one. However, DFC has come out with a new grant, it's called a mentorship grant. It's a 2-year grant, and where you can find an existing DFC grant to mentor you for 2 years to set up this same thing that a P&I would set up. So that is, I know the Stand Up For You Coalition right now is looking to mentor the Sartell district. That was kind of, I think the conversations are out on the table a little bit about that. So that's another kind of precursor to the DFC grant.
So the P&I grant went through Piers at one time.
And then,
Did
yep.
that, and then Little Falls got the P&I grant. And now they're almost done.
Yep.
And so now what we would do, or you would do, or someone would do,
Yep.
is look for another school district within Morrison County, if it fits,
If it fits,
and if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit, end of discussion.
or if there's no interest from the district, because there, there needs to be buy-in from
Yep.
the school district
Yep.
and community partners. It's a community.
So after that P&I portion, which Piers has been through,
Yep.
and Little Falls will be through, then came the DFC.
Drug-free
The
communities.
drug-free communities,
Yep.
and that's also a grant that goes from point A to point B.
5 years.
5
It's a
years.
5-year, yep.
Okay, and then after that, that's too,
There's actually a continuation of 6 through 10 drug-free
Oh, there
communities.
is.
You can,
Okay.
you can apply to continue your grant.
okay, very good, thank you.
Commissioner Wilson?
Katie, now, are we applying for that? When Katie Gruber was here,
Yep.
there was the one grant we weren't gonna apply for. Now, is that the drug one, and are we gonna apply for it?
So previously, it had been recommended that in the state the coalition was in at the time, which was the beginning of this year, that we wouldn't recommend applying for 6 through 10 for the drug-free communities in Pierce, because we wouldn't have met all the criteria.
Right.
However, at this point in the coalition, the Pierce Area Coalition, we may be at a spot where we can meet all those criteria, and so I think they're thinking about and discussing the idea of applying for that 6 through 10. The coalition is talking about that.
That's the Peers Coalition, but it
That's the
indirectly
peers.
goes through public health.
It depends.
Okay.
It has in the past, the Piers Area Coalition, like Stand Up For You.
Yep.
Is now that DFC grant in Little Falls, the school district wrote that, they're the fiscal host, so they're doing that year.
And that does not
1
all
through
go
5.
through, and I'm guessing, I think I'm aware of it, does not go through public health.
The coordinator position, so the facilitator position, right now, the Piers Area Coalition, that DSC coordinator position comes through public health.
Yep.
The DSC coordinator position at Stand Up For You in Little Falls does not come
Does
through.
not, no, that's correct.
It
That
can work
goes through-
different ways.
Yep.
Okay. Who's gonna be the shareholder, the leader of?
Financial host?
Of the grant, and Little Falls School District said, we want this,
Yep,
correct?
basically, yeah.
Okay, very good.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Winchell?
going back to this vacancy, we're paying somebody internally, if I'm correct me, almost a full-time employee wage? Is that what we're getting at? Because it looks like covering the position internally at .9 FTE for short-term remainder of the grant.
So the present coordinator is a 1.0 FTE who will be leaving.
Right.
And the new coordinator, we've moved things around to be able to fulfill 0.9 of that 1.0.
So that person's getting a raise? Is that what's
No.
happening?
It's just, instead of
It's a different
paying
funding
her
source.
out of funding that she was doing before, we've kind of adjusted, and everybody kind of for a short term is gonna take on a little bit more, is gonna kind of step up a little bit to say, she's gonna take most of her time, 0.9 of her time, and use it to fulfill the drug, to the
Okay,
P&I
all
grant
right. So there's
position and the
no-
funding of that.
There's no addition of
No,
funds?
it's no-
Money's gonna
yeah.
keep
That
coming
makes
in.
sense.
It just is how they're shifting that, which is,
Yeah.
again, like Katie said, this isn't a decision we'd make if there was a
Right.
long term.
Right, no, that
But
makes sense
for a
now.
short term to
So
try to
she's
find
using
somebody to
0.9
train
of
it.
her past
staff.
public.
Yeah.
Of other
Okay.
staff,
Yeah.
yeah.
She's-
Answers that
So we're getting
question.
the same amount of
Yeah,
money
we're getting the
with
same
less,
bang for the
with
buck.
Less
less
yeah.
employees.
Less
Less for the
FTE.
bag.
Yeah,
Yeah,
again,
that's
not something you do long-term, but it
Yeah.
can manage for 6
Yeah,
months. And
okay.
working with DHS is important, and
Answers
Katie's
that
done that.
question.
Working with the coalition is important, and we've done that to make sure that we can fulfill that remainder of the grant as
Good.
DHS.
And this is just for
Works well.
discussion, so we don't need a motion or anything. Correct?
No, there's no change or anything like that as far as how we're paying. We're already a full-time
FYI.
member. Just letting you know that we tried to do that without adding
Yep,
costs.
yep, yep.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Very good, thanks, Katie, have a good day.
Katie, have a wonderful
I got
day.
one more question.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
Mike.
Sorry,
Is
Mike.
there, can public health do something like this too?
So-
Showing how much money comes in from the federal and state government grants and how much we spend as
That's- yeah.
taxpayers?
Money.
We can look
I
at it.
haven't seen a report exactly like that come across my desk yet. However, I can seek something out. I'm guessing I could, yes.
I mean,
I
I
think
just
it would
guess
be
that I'd
nice.
like to see this with a lot of the departments.
Yeah.
So that the public knows what they're spending for a department and what we're getting out of it. You know, highway department would probably be another good one that.
Well, there's a
well,
few,
for the
I
money
mean,
that's
He was
coming
getting to
in. Well, no, I'm getting at all of them, to be honest with you.
No, I know.
most of them, I mean, it depends upon what it is, because some of them, like administration, you're gonna see that it's 100% tax
Right.
funded. County board,
Right.
100% tax
Right.
funded. One, as far as tax, and I say local property tax, but you're right, there's a lot of them that have this split with how they're federally funded. We get those in our budget reports, but compiling them maybe a little bit different in a format like that can maybe illustrate that better.
I just think people think that the county just spends money and doesn't have any coming in. And really, when you show everything, we probably pay less than 10%. The taxpayers probably pay 5% of what comes in and goes out.
Yep, and some of it, social services and public health are probably the only that really have a lot of money that comes out that doesn't funnel through this organization. Like, Public Works has a cost, but we pay, it comes in and it pays out, like the budget dollars. Like, we have a total budget of $38 million that we budget for, those are the expenses that we have. And we have about 16, give or take, of that we tax local property tax. There's not a ton of examples that are like social services or public health that pay providers that kind of are in charge of funneling outside dollars elsewhere. I don't know that Steve has an example of that. Otherwise, those are the two main things that have that outside influence, that $77 million that go to providers. But the whole breakdown of what's local and what comes in as far as reimbursement is, and if it does exist, to point it out, I think you're right.
Because I would think in the highway department, our taxpayers, I don't know what the percent would be, but we probably pay less.
It changes every day,
Yeah.
Commissioner, or every year.
Yeah.
We get projects funded,
Yeah.
and the next year we won't get any. So it varies, and we compete for those dollars, so it's a little different than what public health and social services sees.
I just know we get a lot for our money,
Well,
for
absolutely.
what we pay for taxes.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I
Commissioner.
think his point is that, our total levy, you're not a levy, but the dollars that are coming in are like $30-40 million. And that, I think a lot of people have the perspective that the whole county's paying for that. So, and they're not.
All right,
Okay.
good enough.
Thank you.
Katie, thank you.
Have a good day, Katie. All right, assessors report, Glenn. Morning.
Good morning, Glenn.
Glenn?
Good morning.
I have one application for a payment to bring before you today. This is concerning a mobile home that's on personal property. That means that they own the mobile home, but not the land that it's sitting on. And the owner of that property qualifies for the blind and disabled classification. And because it is a mobile home and being personal property, the 2015 assessment payable in 15, the taxes would be reduced approximately $190,000.
$190,000.
Excuse me.
Dollars.
Let's go. That was good.
take it.
Probably should have set a little more time aside for this, Glenn, if it's gonna be
Verbal typo.
$190,000.
See, you
One
guys,
heck of
I
a
just
home.
wanted to see if you guys were listening.
Okay, well, we are,
When the numbers get big enough, we hear much better.
yes.
Okay,
Trust me.
let's go with 190.
Okay, $190. All right,
I recommend approval.
all right.
So moved.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Further discussion on the $190 decrease, gentlemen. Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, Glenn. You got our eyes open though, real well.
You woke us up. That's
Woke us up.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Glenn.
Glenn.
Thank you.
They passed the test.
Steve, come on up.
Abstract.
I'm sorry, auditor. I always have a chair, Steve. I'm sorry, my fault. Come on up, Deb. My fault.
I could have waited.
That's all right. No.
I have a couple of quick ones. An offside gambling permit for Duelm Lions Club for a raffle, and exempt permit for St. Joseph's Church for bingo and raffle.
Do we want to do these separate or together, gentlemen?
Together, is together, okay?
Good
Sounds
enough,
good.
yep.
I would so move on them together.
I'll second
I
that.
have a motion, a second, further discussion. Having heard that, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
And we also have a resolution appointing me as the driver's licensing agent for the county. It's something we missed at the beginning of the year when Russ and I were doing
Exchanging?
paperwork.
Gentlemen,
So moved.
Second.
and a second, designating Deb as the driver's licensing agent. Further discussion. Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And Deb, just one quick question. Liddy called me, I think I sent her to you regarding a question about a benefit for someone who had cancer or whatever. Does that usually come through you then? Does she need to know if she needed permitting?
Yeah, it kind of depends on what type of benefit they're gonna hold. If they're gonna sell tickets or anything like
Okay,
that,
okay.
they do need,
So I just gave her your name and
yep,
number, just wanted to know
exactly.
that I
That
handled
usually goes
okay.
through us.
Okay,
I got a question.
Yes,
Back-
Commissioner
Back on that gambling one with Grub and Pub,
Mhm.
Dualm Area Alliance, they're in Benton County, correct?
But if they're holding the raffle
holding
here,
it. In
So
Morrison.
that's why, they're-
Yep.
okay,
Yep,
yep.
yep.
I figured that, I just wanted to
Yep.
ask.
all right.
Yeah, and
Commissioner Winchell.
yeah, moving forward on the warrants,
Yes.
in there, it has, legal for commissioners or something like that, what is that?
those are the publications that go in the papers.
There's
the-
4 out of the 5, there's 4 to the 5,
The
there's not.
legals that we print every week for the agendas, for the minutes.
Right, no, I understand, but there's only, it says 4 commissioners, it doesn't have 5
No,
commissioners.
it's 4 different issues.
No,
Right.
it's
Probably
all-
4 different bills.
Not 4
Exactly,
different
'cause-
county commissioners.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
that makes
Good
sense.
question.
But there's a lot of it every week.
Yeah.
Well, all of that
Yeah.
stuff costs money every week that we put in
It's
there.
all the publications
I'll
that we
make a
do.
motion to approve the warrants,
And
Second,
Bills, everything.
bills, all of it, yeah.
All right, motion a second. Further discussion, gentlemen. Roll call, Commissioner Jelinski.
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson.
aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Aye.
Commissioner Winchell.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Great.
All right. Steve, it's your turn, come on up.
Morning, Steve.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, yes. No, I saw the looks on your face back there when we were talking about defining all the different dollars we spend, and then all of a sudden your name came up, so.
We've provided those reports, over the years, probably not on enough of a routine basis like you'd like to see. Maybe that would be a better approach.
And if we can find a format that's easy, so you get used to seeing that same format sometimes in the different areas, if it works, is nice. I mean, at least I don't know if you like that or not, but it's nice to have kind of, you're used to looking in the same place for the different types of things.
I just think a
We'll
couple,
see.
I'm sorry.
No, go
I
ahead.
think a couple times a year, because when constituents bring things up, they say it about certain thing, but really they're kind of off base. And if we had something nice and close that we can say how the dollars are really spent, if they want to know.
Yeah.
Really, so, I just like this, I just like to see what we're doing.
And Mr.
Commissioner
Chair,
Jelinski, yep.
very nice format. However, in respect to Steve, in your year-end report, there's without a doubt, it's all in there.
Yes.
Yep.
But at the same time, gotta tell you, to have this stuff briefly brought forth 2-3 times a year probably isn't the worst-case scenario, because it kind of brings everybody back to reality. Once a year, and you do, you have a wonderful report, you know that you send in that we see once a year, and we get this much money from here, and so much is from local levy. That's how it works, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah, there's a lot of information in there, but
Lots.
to summarize it into, I think, what you're
Absolutely.
looking for
Yep, no, I understand.
could very easily be done, and
Steve gives us a lot
Consider
of
that.
reports, so we get a lot of this
Yeah,
stuff
without a doubt.
piecemeal. And when this was all brought up, I kind of think about that new bridge out in your district, Commissioner Jelinski, that beautiful concrete bridge. I mean, I was under it again last week, catching a few northerns, and what a wonderful structure. My gosh, that thing should last forever almost. I mean, you know what I mean, compared to the old ones that were there. So even breaking a project like that down as far as where state dollars, federal dollars, where did the dollars come to pay for that? So people aren't saying, well, you know, we just got taxed to put a bridge over here, and then someone in my district says, well, gosh, you're doing all that good work in Commissioner Jelinski's, you know, we would know where those dollars have come from. And you explained that to us, which is very, very simple, and you know, but I think it would be nice for the public to know where these dollars are all coming from, that it isn't just their tax dollars.
Sure.
You know, interesting.
Understand. Speaking of tax dollars,
Tax dollars, just a matter of where they write the check.
one of the issues that we deal with at this time of the year with our licensed haulers is that they're all, have a numerous contracts with townships, with cities in providing their services. Oftentimes, they provide coupon books, and it takes time to prepare those. And as they move into the next year, are looking to us on what's going to be happening with tipping fees at the landfill, so that they can, if there is an increase, they can build those into what they have to submit to their customers. And so we have proposed our 2016 budget to the county board, and I know there is still a process to go through before that is finalized. But in our 2016 solid waste budget, we were proposing that there would be no increase in tip fees for 2016. My request, and the way our ordinance is set up, it does take a resolution, and Steve will bring in this fee schedule, and that is a part of it, but it does take a separate resolution of the board to establish the service fee and the tip fee. There are two different fees that are built into the one combined fee, which we refer to as the tip fee.
Okay.
But what I'm asking is that the board would allow us to convey to the haulers that there will be no increase for the 2016, what is charged, the tip fee at the landfill, so that they can prepare their coupon books and their, what they'll need to submit to their customers for 2016.
Sure. Also move on it, Mr. Chair.
And a second, further discussion, gentlemen. And, you know, I think Steve does such a good job out there, and Jeff at the landfill. It's so important that, I mean, we come in now with no increases once again, so that's really good stuff. I
Yeah,
mean, just
always trying to keep it down.
Yeah, that's important. Other discussion, gentlemen? Roll call. Commissioner Wincher?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Jelinski?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. One other item, we have a November Public Works Planning meeting, which will be doing some review of projects. I anticipate that we will need a December planning meeting for Public Works. If I could try to schedule something for looking at our 2016 program and some other issues that we may have with Public Works to discuss. I'm wondering if there's something we could set up sometime in the middle of December or towards the end of December.
How about the 14th?
14th is on a Monday, I'm available.
I won't be able to. I have other going.
How about the 16th? I got correction at 9 o'clock in the morning, but
I can't.
Could
do
be in the
16th.
afternoon,
Can't do
okay.
it.
How about the 21st?
Looks like it's open for me.
Open for me,
I can
gentlemen?
bring my Christmas present then.
I can do the 21st.
Is that okay, Steve?
21st works?
21st, Mike?
I'll make it work.
So
Public
we'll-
Works at what time? 8:30?
8:30 at Public Works.
Sounds good.
And we have one, what do we have in November? What is?
Um,
Okay, 23rd.
T-SWAC, right?
23rd.
The 23rd is our Public Works Planning meeting.
Yep.
And we'll be out on projects for at least a couple hours on that day.
Yep, okay.
What time is Public Works one? We do-
8:30.
8:30, yeah.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Anything
Okay.
else, gentlemen, for Steve?
Question?
Very good, Steve, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Very
Have
good,
a
thank
great
you.
day.
Just kidding about the Christmas present.
Were you?
I'm sure you were.
It's on
Jim's
tape.
gonna put that in the,
Kind
in the record this week, that our administrator requested her Christmas present.
Then you
on the
just have
23rd.
to
We'll see
live
how
up to
small
it
gifts
or
can
not.
get.
Did she not say take it out of the county levy too?
Oh, no.
Mr. Wincher, I did not hear that.
I didn't do that.
Thank you.
I have selective hearings though.
Mr. Chair, I only have one,
Administrator's report.
we weren't ready for it.
No, go on.
One action item. As
Okay.
we talked about last week at planning and have talked about a number of times, We know and have discussed the fact that we have some upcoming maintenance on the facility that we know is going to exist. Substantial maintenance, in terms of boilers that are coming due to be replaced, rooftops that need to be replaced, and some other things that are occurring that we know we have to address. And in that discussion that we had, we realized that there's probably more issues that we need to at least pay attention to, and when you spend those kind of dollars, when you invest in a facility, you wanna make sure you're making choices that are long-term, when you're dealing with infrastructure. And so we engaged in a facility study that helped us look at the business. I think we all can say that business is done differently, much differently than it was at the times that all of these different buildings were built, and that's what's caused the drive in that. We have one built in the late 1800s, one built in 1960, one built in 1970, built in the 1990s. Business has changed, and that's why those buildings were built, and that's why, as we sit here today, we need to look at the facility and ask questions about whether or not it's meeting our needs now, and if it's gonna meet our needs into the future. I think the world has changed quite a bit. Areas that used to need a tremendous amount of space to house records, now have electronic means to do so, which changes how they operate. The public and how they interact and how we do business can change over time. We have parking issues, in which a lot of people come to this building. We're in a downtown location, and we don't have, I think anybody who's coming on Monday morning for sure when there's a busy court day doesn't or does see the need for parking issues that we have. I think technology's changed in such a way that, like I mentioned before, just electronic records alone has impacted how we do business, really taking the space needs that we have and changing them in where we're at. Security's a big deal. I think we talked earlier about mental health issues, and I think that's driving a tremendous amount of what we do in an organization like this. Anywhere from law enforcement and the responses that they have to social services we talked about, to people that are coming into these buildings for court issues, to all of that has changed greatly, and I think we've all recognized that. Accessibility's a big deal. Our population is aging. We all are getting older as groups, and we need to make sure that we have a building that is user-friendly, that we can make sure folks are coming in and able to do the business that they need to do, that we can help them in a way that meets those types of needs. And so with that, there's a lot of questions, a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas that are out there that we need to answer in order to be able to get to a recommendation for you on what we want to do moving forward, if anything, moving forward. I think there are enough questions, there are enough goals and issues that we have that have been recognized, that in order to get you some thoughtful processes to deal with at minimum the maintenance that we have to do, which again is pretty substantial in order to maintain the buildings that we have, we need to invest in some work that architects do, engineers do, and folks that can help us determine costs for projects moving forward. And so with that, I ask for consideration of professional services, to help extend that facility study up to not to exceed $50,000 for now. That can be driven by discussions that the facility committees have, that can be driven by discussions that you as a board have, to be able to get answers to questions that come up about facilities moving forward.
Is this for the architect, Deb?
Well, like I said, architects, engineers, there's mechanical and electrical engineers that need to have impact. There's contractors that need to give bids. I can't tell you how much things are gonna cost if these folks don't take some time to be able to look at projects or look at options. And so all of those types of professional services or the expertise we need to be able to even come up with the answers to questions that you have regarding our facility.
Commissioner Wilson.
Deb, I would think though that we're probably going in this with, when the committee asks somebody to do something, we will get a price that it's $10,000, $5,000, and we'll approve that as a committee. So the 50,000 is only there in case we need it without coming back.
Exactly.
The questions that we have been things about off-site, doing a lot of different, the old courthouse. And to answer some of those things and to do a good job at trying to make a decision, we need to know what some of those things are gonna cost us in order to find out which way we go here, or if anything. So, that's just my comment on that.
Other questions, comments, gentlemen?
Yeah, I guess so.
Commissioner Winter?
Mr. Chair, if we would lower it to 25 grand, I mean, I know you brought that up last time, and I think 50,000 was the number. What would be the difference?
I think it's only gonna reach this as we vet this through a process. It's one of those, that's fine, I just would need to come back to you at some point in time, if for some reason the questions were such that really it takes more study, and it takes a lot of study to be able to do this. Questions like Commissioner Wilson said about off-site, that's a great idea, let's look at it, but I don't know what it takes to look at a building that's built elsewhere, or a building that exists, and how it would need to be renovated to be able to meet the needs of this organization. I can't answer those, so I need resources to be able to do that. I need the help with the facilities committee to be able to have that, to direct that. So it's going to be vetted through a committee, which consists of a couple of commissioners and a couple of department heads, and then brought back to you for that, once we find what we find, and once we know the answers to those questions. So I guess, to the point, it doesn't really matter, it's just a thought process of whether or not we could take and continue that work for the next number of months, which includes engaging with folks like that to be able to answer those questions.
And like Mr. Chair, like Mr. Wilson said, to the committee, it'll bring forth, hey, we need an extra 30, then we can decide at the committee whether we say
Absolutely.
no or yes to, and then bring that to the board.
Because I don't think there's $50,000 laying out there, go ahead and use this.
No,
supplement.
no,
It's the committee's gonna say,
Yeah.
yes, this is 5,
Yeah.
10, and approve on how far we're
Yeah.
going with this.
And I would take direction from that committee
Yes.
based upon what we want to look at more, absolutely, yes.
Who's on that committee? Yeah, so, I think you guys are very qualified and stay up to date on this stuff, so that's important. So I don't think 50,000 is
Mr.
too
Chair,
much. Yes, Commissioner Dudley.
we've got 2 commissioners on the committee.
Right.
This figure could say 150,000, could say 200,000. It's not to exceed.
Right.
But I would sure believe,
Yeah.
whether it's $5 or 50,000, we've got department heads and commissioners on this committee for a purpose, and that purpose is to do the right thing. Certainly not just say, oh, we got 50,000, or 150,000, or 500,000 to spend. No, you don't.
And you'll be getting updates as we get
Right,
more
yeah,
information.
exactly.
The intent
This
is
is
to bring it
something
back.
that's not gonna be done overnight.
Oh, no,
Commissioner-
no, no.
Commissioner
Right.
Wilson?
The way I look at this, we've seen a lot of plans and you've all seen these. If we remodel this area here and stuff, we're talking about $17 million in some form or another. So our goal is, how do we back that off? How do we keep working our way down? By going off-site, by doing that courthouse, how do we take that number and start reducing it down to another number? So we know what it would cost to redo everything and make it the way we want, and that's the number. So how can we save money? And we will not find out without spending some money
Yeah.
to make that. So our decisions are trying to, how can we back it off from the $17 million to see what's the most feasible way with parking and everything?
And then we can bring that back to you and say, here are the pros and cons to all
Yep,
of these
to all
different
these
types of
things.
ideas
Yep.
that we've vetted and that we have information.
And Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I
Commissioner
was here
Winston.
the other day, and Nicole, this young lady came in with this stroller, and she wanted to get over to public health, and Nicole did a very good job explaining to her, but again, and so she goes, I just don't, so I went down the elevator with her, through the hallway, she goes, well, how do, I said, now get up the elevator, go back up again, and I can see where it gets a little confusing.
There's multiple times a day.
Right, and I'm saying, I
Yeah.
just happened to be there.
Yeah,
know,
you
so-
happen to see that. It doesn't mean that you don't spend
Right.
huge sums of money to avoid some steps. My goodness, you don't do that. But it's about future planning. It's about what makes sense. It's about investing in certain ways that really allow for good use of those dollars to say, there could be multiple reasons that makes sense, not just one. I mean, there's always a lot that goes into it. So I think it's
And
good.
Mr. Chair, one more thing, again, with the committee could also come back and say, you know what, this is our recommendations, we're just gonna use the maintenance and move on. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility
Yeah.
too, so.
And the other thing too is anytime you're gonna spend lots of dollars, okay, what you put in on the front end, okay, to try to figure out what you're gonna spend and how that money is spent is so important. 'Cause,
What you need
I
to
mean,
do.
you could say, well, it's gonna be this much, and then we're, who the hell knows what we're coming out with? I mean, so this has to be done, and
Yep.
it just does. So anyways,
There'll be a lot of meetings to follow, I'm sure.
Lots.
is this a roll call?
Yes, transfer It'll come from the building fund and then transferred from fund balance.
Do we have a motion and a second, gentlemen?
So moved.
Second.
And a second. Further discussion? Roll call, Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Jelinski,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Commissioner Winter,
Aye.
and I.
All right, thank you. It's an interesting process, and I'm sure I will be learning along with you lots. So we'll move forward with that. I was going to provide something to you as an update, and I'm trying to.
There's something else here that is on the agenda?
Oh, yeah, that's what it was.
Okay, okay.
I forgot that Nicole's so efficient and puts it where I need it instead of makes me try to find it.
Okay.
Deputies, when they're hired or licensed law enforcement officers are in a different para fund. And so there's action that needs to be taken and resolution that we need to send when they reach a certain status or a certain position in order to be able to switch them from the coordinated para plan or perhaps a correctional officer's para plan to that of a deputy. And we have one employee that has reached that, and so I need that resolution approved if
So moved.
we can.
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion, gentlemen? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, sounds good. To give you an update, I currently have a tentative agreement with our AFSCME units that they're taking to vote. And I should be able to hear about that, the result of that vote next board meeting. So I will then be prepared to close that meeting, present to you where we're at with that, and then have you consider that if approved for the vote. And if turned down, we'll regroup and look at where we're at with that. But it was a good process that's gone very well. The folks and employees that we work with have done a very good job of trying to come up with a resolution. And other than, next week, I know we have that AMC regional meeting. Are you going to be there?
I won't be
No?
there.
That oftentimes they look for a report or an update from the counties. I plan to go. This time I wasn't able to make the last one. I can't remember what other meeting I had. So, again, I don't have a tremendous amount of updates. Sometimes it's, this facility study is certainly something that's been occupying my time and union contracts and things of that nature. But if you have something specific to add and you're not going to be there, let me know and I can relay that. But otherwise, we'll see you there.
That's next Thursday, right?
Next
Yep.
Thursday,
Yep.
yep, and then comp plan 2 to 4 after that, huh?
Yeah,
The comp plan?
Oh, I might not.
there is a comp plan, but I doubt that.
2 to 4 in the afternoon is what I got.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll have to see what I can't remember how long. it
Usually
goes.
they're
It's
done
usually
by noon.
Yeah.
AMC, I think so. When we were down last time, Jeff, I think we were out
But
there.
we never make it back here by noon.
No, it's at 2 though.
This is noon to 2, the comp plan.
No, comp's 2
2
to
to
4.
4.
2 to 4.
I got.
2 to 4.
Okay.
I think that's all I have. Does anybody else have anything for me? Did I miss something?
Schedules, gentlemen?
Yes. Can we do
Upcoming schedules from when to when, Ms. Nicole?
November 9th through November 20th, please?
Commissioner Wincher?
Okey dokey. We have planning on Tuesday, the 10th at 8:30 here, planning session. And on Thursday, the 12th, we have our fall AMC district meeting in Wright County at 8 o'clock. And that's in Buffalo, I think, isn't it?
No, yeah, Wright County, yeah.
Buffalo, yep.
What did I say?
Yeah, you're right, Buffalo, right. I'm
And
just
then-
thinking about the comp plan, you're just gonna give it.
Oh, the comp plan, I guess it's 2 to 4 here in room 1.
Yeah.
The courthouse on Friday. I have I don't think that's what we do, that's not what we do. It's Steve Jones. I mean,
Okay.
it's not a public.
You're meeting with him for
Yeah,
that
it's not.
questionnaire thing?
Let's see here, Tuesday, the 17th, we have board at 9. Personnel is also at 5. On Tuesday, what the heck would I have that for down there, personnel?
For library or what do you want?
Public health?
Thanksgiving dinner.
Extension, maybe? What do you?
No, I don't think there's any extension.
Then we also have, there's a Thanksgiving dinner at 11:30.
What day is that on?
17th.
It's on the 17th.
Yep.
Where's that at?
Tuesday, the social
Social.
services at
Se-
11:30.
11:30?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Come on, man. Okay, library at 7 on the 17th I have. And then on the 19th, I got soil and water at 9. TCC at 5. And I was invited to go up to the
Headwaters?
Headwaters on the 20th at Friday. That's up in Walker at
Chase on the Lake.
from 10:15 to 3. Chase on the Lake.
10:45. Does that sound right?
I
I thought
had
mine said 10:45.
Did you get emailed?
On my email, it's
Okay.
10:45.
Take a look at it.
Okay, we'll use 10:45.
Okay, well, that's what I
gotta
took.
be
I
there
think they
at
might have
9.
wanted Commissioner Wincher there a little early.
No, he can come with, yeah, I'm there at 9, guess we are having our Headwaters Board meeting first.
I'll be
Who's
there
to
at
say? I don't know.
10:45. I'll be there at 10:44. That's it for me.
All right, Commissioner Wilson,
What date were you talking about from here to the
9th through the,
Okay. On the
20th,
10th
right?
and 11th, I got Little Falls Positive Community Norm Institute in Little Falls here for coalition training.
Is it the Peers Coalition?
Yep.
no,
Well,
Positive Community Norms, it's
Yep.
over at St. Francis Convent?
yep, yep, yep.
On Tuesday and Wednesday all
And
day.
And, okay.
I
so it
think you
starts at
said the
9.
AMC meeting on the 12th. The comp plan, county board on the 17th, department heads on the 18th at 8:30, and we have corrections.
What day,
Corrections is the 18th.
what day was
Right.
the department head?
The 18th.
I got the 18th at 8:30.
Okay.
Yep.
Community corrections at 9 o'clock up in Brainerd for Dwayne and I.
On the 18th.
Right.
17th, you got community development. You missed, I think.
Okay, I got 2 more down here, yep. Community development on the 17th, TCC on the 19th at 5, Mississippi Headwaters on the 20th. Is that it? Okay.
Commissioner Johnson?
That takes care of all of mine also.
All right, Commissioner Jelinski. I'm sure it doesn't take care of yours.
No, I'm sure it doesn't.
I think you'd
For
practically
whatever
live down
reason,
in
I
St.
have
Cloud.
department head
Yeah.
on the 11th, but that's wrong, right?
Yeah, we're closed that day.
Okay. So then on the 12th, at 5:30, there's a trails meeting, and that's gonna be at Camp Ripley
Which day is that?
on the 12th,
Okay.
and at 5:30. At 7:30, that's that evening on the 12th, the Egg Society has got their annual meeting, and that is in the basement of the American Legion
In Little Falls here?
in Little Falls. Thank you. On the 13th, I've got an armor rack meeting, City of St. Cloud, at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'm sorry, but that's the best location I have. On the 18th, at 5 o'clock in the evening, meeting room 3, Hands of Hope. On the 19th, at 12:30, I've got a State Emergency Services Board meeting in Arden Hills.
And that's here in town?
No, that's in Arden Hills.
Thank you.
Sorry.
This is
I
a
was
test.
thinking of Linden
This is a
Hills.
test, Commissioner.
Wondering if I was paying attention.
That's right.
At 7:30 that evening, I've got an Egg Society meeting. And you probably, Nicole, have this written on your schedule that at 10 o'clock in the morning, which I can't be at, there's an owners and operators meeting in Alec, but I won't be at that, obviously. I can't make the Mississippi Headwaters Board on the 20th. And that should do it.
All right.
Thanks.
Why don't you have your calendars out?
Just a second, I'm not done.
Okay.
All right, let me look here. I'll get the positive community norms on the 10th and the 11th over at the convent. See here. And planning and zoning is canceled on the 23rd, we didn't have anything for that?
I think that's was the case, I think
Yep,
she's.
yep, I got that.
We didn't go that far anyway, did we?
Where are we
I'm
at?
wrong, I'm wrong.
He's
I'm
going
wrong.
to
I was too far ahead.
That's
I was already-
20th.
Yeah,
Pastor.
okay, okay, okay.
Planning Commission one on the 23rd.
I skipped a page. I have the airport commission at 12 o'clock on the
That's
19th.
canceled now?
No, no.
I have the Headwaters Board at 9 o'clock on the 20th.
Isn't that at 9:15?
I thought it was at 11:15.
Well, you guys go, you guys got the notice. I have to chair the board meeting. I'm on the board, so we have to be there at 9, so. I say
That was a little funny
You, you can come and take in the board meeting if you like at 9.
Whatever it is, I'll be there a minute early,
Okay, as usual.
as usual.
All right, that would be it for me. Okay, Deb,
That was too funny.
calendars?
Yeah, our holiday committee has picked December 15th for the annual meal or gathering, or whatever you call it.
Okay.
December 15th.
December 15th, give us a time.
You don't know how that normally works?
They serve usually 11:30 and, like, you know, they have two different shifts, like 11:30 and 12:30 that people can kind of come down and get served. So typically that.
You can put me on, 'cause I was never on anything yet, so.
And we
Sign me up for
contribute,
something.
the department heads typically contribute and commissioners, because everybody loves that, to help
I can
fund some
serve
of the
coffee.
prizes and some of the stuff. But yeah, they have a small group this year, Deb, and Deb was heading that, and so she was maybe gonna solicit some help, and I,
Yeah, if any of you would like to help our, it's motor vehicle auditor treasurer, and we enlisted the vet services also, but if any of you would like to help us out for accepting volunteers.
Go ahead.
I could help early, but we got, Mike and I have
Whatever.
community
Send us an
development that day also,
Send
at
us an
12:15.
email, how's that
We
sound?
have board at 9, right?
Right,
Yeah.
so it's
Yep.
after that.
So it'd be after the
I
board
have set in
meeting.
the landscape,
I
so
don't
I'm
have
hopefully
that
from
many
10 to 2.
meetings.
they're all offices that need to remain open, so the staffing of that
I
stuff
guess
is
you're gonna
not-
have to just go to Sentinel Landscapes and miss this one.
Might have to.
so.
And make sure you bring Deb's present.
Yes.
You
Is
have a
that,
couple
the
days yet.
15th, is the 15th early enough for that present?
You know,
Any other
what to
issues,
say
gentlemen?
now. I was teasing.
I would so move for adjournment.
So moved, or second.
Have a motion second, further discussion. Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Have a good day, we'll be back